Good Wednesday morning, and welcome to Ice Age TV, the internal combustion engine age TV that talks about all my cars and trucks and motorcycles and SUVs and dogs and my addictions in life of having to buy something. What is that all about? Oh, just wow. Hey, good morning, everybody that tunes into my channel. Appreciate the support and the views and the comments. And wow, just a beautiful morning here per se compared to other parts of the country like Florida. I hope my family is going to ride out that storm and be okay. I think they will, because that storm went a little further north, so I think they may skate that yet another time. I don't know. Haven't heard from them, but hearts and prayers to anybody down there in Florida with the hurricane. So wow, just seems like those things don't give up every year, right? Especially Florida. But anyways, what a beautiful, and wow, the grass just doesn't give up. You know, it doesn't give up. I mean, that's what I was thinking to myself. I just don't give up on the buying stuff. What is that all about, right? Call it the give up conversations. You just don't give up. I mean, that's a lot of people comment, how did you get this and get that? And I think I respond, yeah, 42 years plus of working in my life. Yeah, I mean, I'm 60 years old. I started working when I was young, and yeah, 42 years, and I'm still going. I haven't given up. And my car addictions and motorcycle addictions and truck addictions, I haven't given them up, and I should, because it's expensive. I should be thinking about retiring, right? So, wow. Here we are. Watching the channel, you know what's going on. I've got the brand new Indian motorcycles in my shop. Who could even imagine, even for me, a week ago, would I be telling you that a week later, I'd have two brand new Indians? Wow. Yeah, wow. And I got an Indian shirt. And I got my Harley mug on. I should say I have my Harley mug for coffee. Boy, it's early. Late evening. Oh my gosh, we didn't even go to the house till 10 o'clock last night. Oh my gosh, the dealership. So let's get the dogs in. And let's talk motorcycles, right? On how I just can't give up the addictions of having to buy something different and new. Which that's my challenge in life. And that's expensive for anybody out there. So, come on, bubbers. Let me get some lights on. Oh, shoot. I'm trying to get my door open here. And I did. I got it. So get the puppies up there. And let's start talking about things. Because so many people that are the motorcycle enthusiasts, they're just curious of what I think about the different brands. Which I think is so fun for me as an individual to have the opportunity to buy so many different things and truly see the differences. Seeing versus believing. That was yesterday's conversations. My battery is under warranty, so I got to take that to the dealer and get my new battery for my Indian Chief Bobber. And wow, where do I start? You know, something I was thinking about this morning was it's beyond believable that if you look at the collection of motorcycles that are in my shop right now, my barn, my old restored barn, it's beyond believable. You think a year ago, what did I have sitting here in the shop? And I think, wow, because this Labor Day weekend is when the Harley thing took off. I mean, buying Harley. A year ago, this coming Labor Day weekend, that I went down to Tennessee to buy an Indian Pursuit that I ordered on my birthday. The red one, the burgundy color one. Really nice pack. If you actually look through my videos and look for the Pursuit of Happiness and the Pursuit of Nothing, you'll see a video of me a year ago coming this weekend that I was in Tennessee trying to buy an Indian Pursuit without having to give up my other Indians, which I really did like. So for me, wow. I mean, this year in itself, how many motorcycles have I purchased? I mean, even for me, I mean, sincerely, I can't even keep track. But I can tell you this, that every motorcycle here now in the shop is all this year purchases with the exception of the Street Bob. But there's other motorcycles that aren't even here And there's other motorcycles I've sold and traded. So, wow. So, without talking all about me, right? It's all about me. Well, I think more people right now are probably like, hey, what's the deal in the Pursuit? What's the deal on the Indian Sport Chief? And this is a surprise, actually. And to name these different themes to my conversations, I was thinking to myself, maybe we should call it the takeaway conversation, because what's really interesting is this has turned more into a focal point of this motorcycle with my daughter than was ever even planned. And even this was not per se planned. And for me, I'm blown away how the daughter has become more fixated on this, being that I never even drove that dealership on Saturday to buy these motorcycles, buy any motorcycles, and all of a sudden now this motorcycle right here is her favorite. And so, and why is that? So that's what you have to say. If all these different motorcycles, for anybody that's just a person that's not really a motorcycle enthusiast, I'm sure they'd be like, it's just such a waste. Such a waste of, money, and waste of all these different motorcycles. For what? For why? Cars, I get all that, but it's all a different ride. Every one of these motorcycles has a whole different ride, whole different experience, for the better and the worse. Should I call it for the better and worse conversations? So let's just do the daughter's bike for this moment, even though a lot of people I know want me to talk about this Pursuit versus that new CVO Road Glide. And that's tough. That's a tough. I don't know if I can come to closure right now at this time. That new CVO Road Glide is so nice. This is an extremely nice motorcycle, but I think I'm going to have the Challenger. I just don't know if I can really honestly compare these two bikes, because they really aren't the same bikes. So let's just focus right now on the Chief, which gets so confusing. A video yesterday when I was leaving motorcycles at Dulles, I'm sitting there saying, I just bought a Super Chief. No, I bought a Sport Chief. It's just the Indian Chief line is the Chief, the Bobber, the Super, and the Sport. So you just, it just gets too overwhelming with information. So I, even myself, on Saturday, started thinking to myself, I could just change out the Bobber, and it's going to be a Sport Chief. Just for me, not even that well. I didn't know that much about that motorcycle because I haven't been fixated in Sport Chief. So I truly thought it was a dealership that, I'm just an idiot because I'm just buying another Chief when I can just take this one and I could make it a Chief. I can put a front little fairing on it. I can change the handlebars on it. And the seats are the same because I just bought this seat from the original seat. And for the most part, I can change the floorboards and foot controls. And for the most part, I just have a Super Chief now. No, not even close. Not even close. If we look here at the difference, if you look up here at the front end of that motorcycle, and those forks are upside down, called inverted forks, versus these forks. So there's one huge difference in the performance and the way a motorcycle handles is a new generation of putting inverted forks on these motorcycles. It's a huge difference in the way these bikes ride. And that's something that they did on the Harley over there, inverted forks. That's the new language. All right, so there's the first big change. Then you go up to the front wheel. It's a 19-inch wheel. This is like a 16-inch wheel. This is a spoke wheel. This is a cast iron wheel. All right, so there's already a difference. Here, this has one single disc brake up front. All right, that has dual disc brakes, Brembo setup. So far better braking capability. And then you go over here to the engine. This is a 111 engine. This over here is a 116 engine, a bigger engine. Then you go here to the handlebars. These are like the ape hangers. This here is more of a flatter style, more comfortable riding position for my daughter, versus this is not. This makes you like in a wind sail. Then you look at the floorboards here, which is right here. You have like a little floorboard. And you go over here, then you have pegs. My daughter actually prefers the peg setup over the floorboards, and the brake controller is not as big like up here, easier for her to handle the bike. Then you go to the shocks. This has the Fox, the piggyback Fox performance shocks for the suspension. You go over here, this doesn't have performance shocks. Once again, the rear wheel is a cast iron wheel. My daughter claims the braking on this motorcycle is really, really confident and really nice. And I would think the braking would be the same personally, but I'm not real sure on that. She claims that this front fairing really does push the air over your head. On this motorcycle here, all of the air is totally into your face and body, and the posture of your body being up, it's like a wind sail. So it literally pushes you off the bike in high speeds. So just those, that's, you know, so just right there, this really is a whole different motorcycle than the Chief Bobber. And my daughter, for the moment, just loves this motorcycle. I mean, she loves her Harley Davidson Lowrider ST, but it's just a whole different animal motorcycle. Now, the Street Bob, she just has, that's her first Harley. I don't know if we'll ever get rid of that thing, but she's starting to really see and how these fixed fairings and the front fairing of bikes really do help you going down the road. So, all right, we just compared the Indians. So for anybody out there, the Sport Chief may be your calling. It may not. But my daughter feels extremely confident. If you watch my video of her riding it, she looks totally dominant on that motorcycle. You know, it's interesting. She likes the exhaust. She doesn't really want to do anything to this motorcycle. She feels like it's such refined and such a nice riding bike. No tune, no upgraded air cleaner on it, no exhaust. For the moment, that's what she's saying. She just doesn't like the way this bike here kind of jerks you around from the stage 1 air cleaner and the different exhausts. And I got to thinking last night, I could take this exhaust off and put it on this bike here. Maybe the Indians aren't making the exhaust for these bikes anymore. They're totally out of it. For anybody out there that's looking mufflers upgrades, Indians done for the EPA crap. They're out. They don't want anything to do with it. So I'm right now on the exhaust, and only dealers that have existing inventory of the upgraded exhaust, that's the only way you're going to get it, because Indians stopped making the stuff. You have to go to aftermarket, and I've already done that. That's our conversation. So as far as the Indian Chief goes, there's a big difference in the Chief Bobber and the Super Chief to the Sport. There is a lot of difference. And so now we go over to the Harley, because it's always about the Indian versus, as we know, the Harley Davidson. I mean, in the competition, for us consumers, I think it's a good thing, because it's forcing the manufacturers to bring a better product to the marketplace, and it seems like Harley's waking up and they're doing that. So this, to me, this Lowrider ST, in my eyes, I would think this is the better bike overall. And I think my daughter, she'll say that, she said in the video, on long road trip, this fixed front fairing that's much bigger than that Indian, she feels this would be the better ride on a long ride. So she still loves this motorcycle, but she's just in love with that brand new ride, which I'm so glad. And that's the thing, you know, is it the takeaway? Meaning, I never thought on Saturday when I was negotiating the deals and the bikes, this was the focal point. And then all of a sudden, bam, this is in the picture. And now more than ever, I've had more excitement on talking about this bike in so many aspects and learning more about this bike than the other motorcycles that I own presently, because I thought I was kind of making a big mistake of just buying the same motorcycle with different handlebars and just a little different look, which I'm so wrong. So now you go from the Indian to the Harley, and here's the challenge. The Harley Davidson product, this is an expensive motorcycle. And I'm just going off the tip of my tongue. There's a 10 grand, 13 grand difference in price. This is a $20,000 motorcycle. This is a 19 and change motorcycle. Oh, another thing, the Sport Chief automatically has ABS brakes. That doesn't have ABS brakes. My daughter, after having her fall last year of locking this bike up and going down, she now really does like the ABS brakes. So for anybody out there looking at bikes, some don't like the ABS. I think that's old school, but for me, ABS all day long. So this does have ABS. The Lowrider ST has ABS, even though the Street Bible there doesn't. But here's the thing. We now start looking at the Lowrider ST, and that's the thing. These are technically competing with one another. And you can definitely take the bags off the Harley Davidson. Those are very easy to remove. As I drink my coffee here. And then this would give, right here's a lever that releases these bags. Quick attach, release. Instantly, these two bikes would look so much closer to being head-to-head. But in the market, it's kind of hard to believe, even for me, saying that this product here is competing with this product here, because I believe there's a $13,000 price difference. And wow, I mean, wow, that is huge. So for anybody out there shopping for motorcycles, oh my gosh, talk about the package. This has a nice digital display with your whole map, information. So that's really nice technology in this motorcycle here. See if we can power it on. Maybe show it to you. Over here with the Harley, not so much. It just had a little digital display here, which I'll show that to you. If the kid has the key in her pants. Yeah, she never brought the key back out to shop. I've had that conversation many times. Like, you got to leave the keys. Yeah. So anyways, here we go. It doesn't really matter. That screen is nothing. This here is a huge difference, because this thing gives you options to go into your ride. So it tells you how long your rode. And so trip 1 was 75 miles. But that's not accurate because the bike was ridden a little bit. But anyways, this thing here gives you the map capability. I mean, it just does a lot of really cool things. And it's just a better technology package on this motorcycle. If this had that fixed fairing that was bigger on this bike, then wow, that would be very challenging. But here's the thing, from a daughter's perspective, she loves this bike and she likes the Harley, but in so many ways she's really, really excited. And I ask her all the time, would you part with that for that? And that's where it kind of gets a little fuzzy. So, but when you look at the bikes, for the Harley, you got a 117 motor versus that Indian's a 116 motor. So not much difference. Same setup, dual disc brakes, the inverted forks. It's the engine, the V-twin engine. It's not liquid cooled, it's oil cooled, just like that bike over there. This has an uprated exhaust on it, but this has the same foot controls as that motorcycle. This has the same handlebar position as the Indian. So yes, these two bikes are competitors, but they're not competitors if you really step back and think about the difference in pricing on the product. What is that all about, right? Wow. And now let's go just talk a little bit about the Indian Pursuit, because I know a lot of people have been more fixated on me having the Indian Challenger go up against the CVO Road Glide. So first thing here is, when you look at the Indian product, the fit and finish is not as good as the Harley. The Indian has always, to me, had a little bit more of a cheesier type of look to the motorcycle. And right here, this just kind of really is just kind of disappointing. Look at this gap here, okay? Look at the gap between your tour pack and your seat. I mean, that just really, to me, is just wow. Really? You're going to build a motorcycle like this and you have this huge gap back here? So, not excited about that. When it comes to the front windshield, I love the windshield technology because it goes up and down, but it can kind of look a little gaudy in some ways once it comes way up there and you just see all of this mechanical mechanism in front of you. So it looks good, but at the same time, it can kind of give you a look like, it's all right. If you look at the controls, it just has more of that Polaris look to it, and it just doesn't seem the same as the Harley. If you look at the tank, some people don't like this big ass tank. Well, yeah, I understand that, but even though Harley's newer generation bikes have very similar style tanks, I love the seat. The rear passenger setting is nice. I do like how they did change out the toggle switches on the side, which were sometimes challenging to get to. And so this is kind of neat with the plus and minus. For your heated seat, you can get the cooled seat. These bags feel very similar to the Harley bags. So, but the Harley ones over there seem like they've gone down a little bit in the thickness of them. The rear trunk, totally different from Harley. Harley, you take the rear trunk and it goes to the left. And for the Indian, this one just goes up like this here. And I actually have a how-to video how to put struts on the rear trunk to make it so it's a little nicer setup. It goes a little too far, so I do have a how-to video on how to do that. I have the how-to video on how to set up your home link on your bike. See here, it has the home link capability. It's the little module goes in right up here, so I have a whole video on how to do that, and I'm going to put that on there so I can open my barn and gate no problem. So on the Indian product, Harley is kind of caught up. Harley now has different ride modes. Harley now has the home link. So Harley, they really have come up to the plate on the motorcycles. And I still like this screen, or I should say the two different screens. And this has the cruise control on the right side versus the Harley has it on the left side. So I just go over here now to the Harley, because we're just going to turn into a really long conversation here on the bike. But if you look at the front disc brakes, dual disc brakes, this has the rear actual saddlebag protectors. Harley didn't include that. I had to buy that. This has lowers. I really do like the lowers. I like the lower driving lights to give you really good vision. Last night I was riding back in, and you turn those things off and on. It's a big difference on your visibility. I like this big screen. I'm going to get the wind splitter. It'll be a little lower cut, a little bit more of a flare to it. I got to order that. They're on back order. I like the lit up Indian icon. I'll kind of do that right now for you so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. See, that's pretty cool. That little lighted Indian head there. And so now the Harley Davidson Road Glide CVO, which they are making the limited with the Tour Pack. So you can order the Harley Davidson 2023 new generation CVO that will have the Tour Pack and the lowers. So you come over here, and totally different in how you open up these bags. And once again, you kind of, in so many ways, this bag kind of feels a little better, but at the same time, a little flimsy. So I think they cut the corners there. The seat, mixed feelings on the seat. That seat on that Indian is so comfortable. Very, very comfortable. This seat here, I have ridden it, and it has kind of gotten to me after riding a good hour or so. But you look at the controls here. So now you go to the Harley. I think Harley's done such a nicer job on the controls. But here's what's really interesting is they did the lighting up of the controls. If you look over here on the Indian Pursuit, you're going to see that they didn't do that. And coming back in last night, that was a little aggravating, driving back in the dark, because I was actually looking for the high beam and low beam. And when you have your gloves on and your gear on, and you're trying to stay focused on the road, this is all dark. So Harley definitely did a better job on thinking that through, on having the lit up controls. Harley did a better job on giving you the cruise control capability on the left side versus the right side, because you're holding down your throttle and you're trying to put your hand over here. So you're going down the road on the Indian. See here, you get your hand and you're trying to navigate to get that cruise control. It's not that easy. Versus over here, it's so much easier to do your controls on your setting your cruise control off and on. And this is more about your radio, infotainment, and stuff like that. But you can see that Harley really has stepped it up, and they've brought the home link in. They've brought in the, let's see here, let's go to the bike. They've gone into the sport modes. Wow. That's crazy. That's pretty crazy in that, right? Yikes. Hey, might like cranking or what, right? It's always entertainment. So listen to the bike with the exhaust. They really didn't mean to do that. So there's too many buttons. Yeah, too many buttons. And that's what's interesting. The whole bike powers off when you hit the off. Like what's that all about? There's your horn. Here's your blinkers on each side of the handlebars. And let's go back here, because this does have, it's just too complicated. When you have all this technology and all these different bikes, it just doesn't end on trying to figure out how to do all this stuff. It gets, I'll just spend too much time on the video. But anyways, so you look at the bike setup on the front windshield. Doesn't have the adjustable windscreen, which I think Harley needs to address that. If you look at the handlebar setup, I've talked about it many times. This is just a whole different motorcycle that is so fun and sporty. And I tell you what, I really feel right now the CVO Road Glide new generation is giving Indian a run for its money. I really do. I mean, this is a very plush riding bike, and that's why I can't really say which is better, because I need my Elite. The Challenger Elite rides differently than this Pursuit does. Even for me, I'm like, but why? Because it just has a tour pack on it and lowers. But this bike has a different feel. And I'm not feeling that big difference like my bike in Tennessee. So for me, see and get that Indian Challenger Elite and really ride that, and then ride the CVO Road Glide to really say which is better. And right now, the CVO Road Glide is winning. I think the CVO Road Glide is actually right now the better, funner performance bike than the Indian as far as the Pursuit goes. But I got to get the Challenger. But here's the thing. The Indian product is like a $33,000 motorcycle. It's like a $33,900 motorcycle. Okay? That's a $43,000 motorcycle. There's a $10,000 spread, and that's not even the tour pack setup. So at the tour pack, the lowers, I'm sure that bike is going to be a $46,000 or $47,000 motorcycle over the Indian. So it's going to be, I'm sure, a $12,000, $13,000 difference in price. And is it really there? Really, really there on the difference of the fun factor? And, only way I could ever really honestly answer that, I would have to have the new CVO Limited, basically, tour pack bike to really ride them back to back. But the one thing that Indian always does feel more balanced. It's easier off the kickstand. The engine is more refined, but this is a whole different engine. This is a liquid cooled Polaris motor. You're talking about an air cooled engine that now does have liquid cooling through the heads and all, but it's just a whole different style engine compared to the Indian product. So, in borderline, I've talked about this before, it's borderline like me comparing the Honda CB650 engine or a Honda CB1000 engine with the Indian engine, just the way it's designed. Yeah, I can talk a lot, right? I love the Indian Pursuit. This is a bike you could definitely go across the country on. Very comfortable, very confident, very balanced. If you watch my video, it's not noisy. The engine's not noisy going down the road. I think that the speakers, for some reason, the speaker setup on this front fairing at highway speeds, you can hear the music so well. On the Harleys, I just, even though they've upgraded their infotainment center and their radio, it still isn't that good. You still get a lot of the wind in your face, and you still, not so much the wind, but you just get a lot of noise, and you just can't hear the clarity of that radio. And this is really nice. So here's where Harley did a great job, deflecting the air into you versus the Indian. It doesn't have that. It's deflecting against you, and you don't have the change. You got to wonder, when is Indian going to upgrade the Pursuit and Challenger to stay up with Harley? Because I would have to say right now, and look at the handlebars. I told the dealer I wanted these pushed up, and they're just keep on telling me you really can't push them up more, even though my Challenger, because I like that more forward push on it. So the Harley gives you a much more sportier feel. So this is fun. This is sporty, great motorcycle. And is it heavy? It is. But is it refined and better? Yes, by all means. Great bike. Expensive. Very expensive. This bike here, it's expensive, but you're getting a lot more bike for, basically $10,000 less. If you just want to compare the pricing, you're 10 grand less for this bike here with a tour pack, with lowers, with, what else? Well, it has the side saddle bag guards. I had to buy those to put those on. And it has the better, bigger screen. I had to buy an upgraded screen for that. So anyways, all right, it can get to it. This morning it was all about the motorcycles, and that's my life, my addictions, and I just never give up on having to have something different. That's just, you go a year from now, see, if a year from now, does anybody here believe you would see all the same bikes here? It's just beyond believable of how I operate and what I do. And if you're watching my channel, you can just go a year ago and look at the driveway, and you would see a whole different selection of vehicles from a year ago. Literally, all these vehicles weren't here a year ago. None of these vehicles. And that's a fact. Wow. What was here? Yeah, can anybody remember? Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. And here, I lucked out yesterday, so I'm going to put these nice, I think, more performance-oriented looking, clean bags on the bike. So how will that look? You got to have bags. That's one thing about these, I call them the naked bikes. How do you ride a motorcycle without having storage? And that's just one thing that really turns me off about, the other bikes that like that there. You just don't have any storage. And I actually was supposed to buy those exact same bags down in Florida from a dealership. I never made it, but I lucked out because Indian now has the $50 off if you spend X amount of monies. Here's my highway pegs. All the Indian stuff is so expensive. This here, $600, $600, and I got $50 off. This here, $400, $400 for highway pegs and the brackets that I got $50 off. So yeah, but it's all about the time and the money factor and all that good stuff. But anyways, I'm done talking. Hope everybody has a great day. What are we doing next? Definitely want to ride these things more and get some more time behind them. But I got to go to Tennessee, even though I've got that the Challenger up for sale. Part of me is like, take it down, don't sell it. But the other part of me is like, when will I ride it, right? Because this here, it's the Challenger, but it's not. How confusing can it be? Thanks for watching, and appreciate all the support, and I hope everybody has a great day. God bless, stay safe. I gotta go to work.